Their business acumen is staggering. Their wealth is subject of envy. But behind the money, the notoriety, and the often unwanted attention is a sense of purpose, to help those in need, to build a legacy to be proud of. This is a series that delves into the lives of those who give. This is The Philanthropists. So there's someone else who's in the room but not in the room. Your late husband, Michael. Tell me about him.
Michael was a diamond in the rough, a powerful man, a man's man. He was incredibly kind, compassionate, sometimes a little difficult, but he really was, when you needed him, when I needed him, he had my back all the time. He was great. When my dad was very sick and in the hospital, and I was working full-time teaching, I couldn't visit my dad in the hospital for many days, except on the weekends or the end of the day, and Michael used to take many days and visit him in the hospital in my stead. And it meant so much to me. It meant so much. And I never asked him to. All of a sudden, he was going to the hospital to visit him. And he just took my place. And it was so wonderful. The kindness, the compassion.
Tell me about the first time you met Michael.
So, I hadn't been on my own for a very long time. It was very short. Michael had been on his own for several years. And we were set up on a blind date by a mutual friend. And he walked into the vestibule of my house, and I looked at him, and he was cute. Quite a bit older than me. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, this is a man." And we spent every day together after that. It was instant. It's interesting. He came over every morning. I stopped going to the gym, and then I worked. It was just instant. He used to say, "Every pot has its cover." That was his expression. And that's the way it was. That's the way it was.
So the relationship, it kind of sounds like boom.
Yeah, and it stayed, we were married almost just 2 months shy of 25 years. And like every relationship and every marriage, there are issues. But we had a very solid foundation. We knew we were each other's beshert, really.
And how did giving work its way into the relationship? And what effect did it have on the relationship?
Well, there was no real effect, except that we both came from families with solid Jewish backgrounds. He went to parochial school, Jewish parochial school, so did I. Our children both went to Jewish parochial schools, and going to those kinds of schools, you learn about Jewish tradition, about giving back to community, very important. And it was important in the house too. Michael was president of the elementary school that his daughter went to school. I worked for a cancer support group for many years after my dad passed away. And the children saw it. It was important for them. In terms of my children, my daughter, she lives in New York, works very hard, but still is involved in pro bono work that she does for 2 charities in New York. And my son's, his own profession is he's a physician, and that's his chosen profession. He doesn't have much time for, but they both know what it is to give. And it's important. It's like the Karen HaKayemet, the blue box, the National Fund box, which was always in school, to give the pennies, the quarters, the dollars, whatever you could. And it's important because, Sir Montefiore said, it's important to give to charity because charity lasts. It builds something, not necessarily a building, which his name is on, but it builds something. It goes towards something. You never know if the money that you give towards research is going to give you that cure for Alzheimer's. But if you keep the money, it's just going to get frittered away.
So how does Hebrew University get into that picture?
Very close friends, Steve and Irene Lipper, were very involved in Hebrew University, Ralph and Angela Lipper. And Michael wanted to honor Steve and Irene. And he wanted to contribute to and support Hebrew University. And it's ironic, what happened was he spoke to Stephen and said, I want to donate money. I want to contribute and support the university. How can I do it? Where can I put the money? So initially, I thought it would be, of course, to cancer research. My dad had passed away, cancer. And they said, we would like you to set up a foundation for something for Alzheimer's. Okay, so we did. We did what the university wanted. In the end, 2 years later, our brother-in-law was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And my mom passed away during COVID, but she suffered from Alzheimer's for many years. So it was an ironic thing, what goes around comes around. And we both felt very good at what we did for Hebrew University. It was a good choice, an excellent choice. And subsequently, after Michael's passing, I decided that I didn't want to just be a donor. I didn't want to just give money. I wanted to be a little more active, even though I couldn't give like a tremendous amount, but I could do other things. And that's what I wanted, to be a more active person.
What are the other things?
To host events, informative events, to spread the word about Hebrew University, which I think is a wonderful institution. And that's really my goal. For me, it's a place where it's a fabulous institution of learning, but it's also a place where it reaches out to the world to different universities. It partners with University of Montreal. It just partners with other universities in Europe. And it's a wonderful place for women to establish themselves and where they gain recognition.
It's interesting you said it's not just about money.
No.
So when you think of being a philanthropist, what is it about?
But I think there's other ways to define philanthropy. It's giving of your mind, your soul, your time, your thought to help the world become a better place, like tikkun olam, to make this place, to make the world a better place. And we really need that in today's world. We really do.
So you're giving to Canadian Friends of Hebrew University. Do you tell other people that they should as well?
I don't. I don't tell people to give. I don't. As a matter of fact, this past winter, I had an information lunch with a doctor, professor from Hebrew U. It was not a fundraiser, but if people wanted to donate, it was obviously accepted. But I made a point of saying it's not a fundraiser, and people did donate. But it was more for information, and people were impressed, very impressed. And for me, it's to spread the word. The donations will come, I feel. The donations will come. But I think it's important to spread the word of what Hebrew University is about, which is more important. Hebrew University is more than just the foundations and the money. It's a wonderful place of learning and healing.
So what would the diamond in the rough say? What would Michael say about what you're doing?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure what he would say. I don't know what he would say.
Was it his idea in the first place, or was it both your ideas?
It was his idea in the first place to get involved with Hebrew University. And, you know, we went to the Einstein Gala and he donated, and he wanted to be involved, but I'm speaking about him in the present tense. He wasn't a person who would be on a committee or something. But if I had wanted to have an event, he would have supported it, for sure. For Hebrew University, he would have supported it. Absolutely.
So you don't tell people to give, but if you had to offer something to people to get them over that bridge to give, what would you tell them?
I would tell them to go to Israel and to visit the university and visit the labs and see the people and meet the people and see what they do. Because really, it's inspiring. It is inspiring. They do things there that heal people, that the research is amazing. And that's what I would tell them to do. Because if somebody is able to give a lot of money, they're able to afford a trip to Israel. And if they're going to do it, then it's important for them to see what they're going to invest in. And I think that is a good way to inspire them, because it's very inspiring. Very inspiring.
So what about people who don't have a lot of money? How do they fit in?
Well, I would say, you know what? I'm going to give you an analogy. When I was a little girl, I went to Jewish school. And around Tu B'Shvat, we used to buy these trees. Some kids would come with all the trees, with the leaves. Each leaf was, I don't know, a few cents. And not everybody could fill a whole tree. So we would share the tree. So if you only could afford 30 cents of trees, another person would fill the other 30 cents. But there we have a whole tree. So we would have a sharing. I would say, you know what? If you can't give 50,000, but if you can give 500, it makes a difference. Because 500 from you, 500 or 150, whatever it is, it all adds up. It all adds up, and it all means something, because you give what is your capacity to give and your will to give. And it's important. It's important to support Hebrew University and Israel.
Do any moments stand out for you in the process of giving to Hebrew University?
Last year, I hosted an event where I had a professor speaking, and she was inspirational. There were several people at the event who subsequently donated, who were very unwell. And they were inspired. And because of being at the event, they got in touch with her. And one of the gentlemen, his daughter has subsequently come down with breast cancer, and he got in touch with her again. And she has been so incredibly supportive and wonderful, and has affirmed the treatment that she's getting, and he needed to hear that. He needed to know that what she's getting, the treatment she's getting, was good, was proper, was the right treatment in Montreal, because he had faith in her more than the doctors that she was going to in Montreal. And I felt very good about that. That to me was my way of giving, and giving him the opportunity. And here, she's been so incredible and so supportive. And it's because of the connection that they were able to make, because of that lunch that they came to. Isn't that wonderful?
Why is giving important?
Well, giving is important for so many reasons. Giving is important. It helps the world. Is that general enough? But if you're giving to a specific place, like Hebrew University, it helps the university. And it helps you. It helps you also. Makes you feel good that you've done something to help the world. And I think that's really good. You've done something to make this world a better place. And I think that's really crucial.
Some people think that giving is giving away, that I'm going to lose something if I give it away.
You don't give it away. It's not giving it away. You're giving to help. I don't feel that you're giving away. I think you're giving to produce something, to create something. You're not giving away, quite the opposite. That's my opinion.
April Rosenfeld, I want to thank you very much. It's inspiring to hear your story, and I hope it encourages others to give to Canadian Friends of Hebrew University. Thank you.
You're welcome.